In front of you is a fearsome weapon and a big problem for the average soldier. But for all its power, it is still just a tool of war and not invulnerable. It just requires a different approach. In this combat note, we fight tanks with infantry. You're dealing with the same human soldiers, but hidden behind good protection and armed with a caliber larger than a regular rifle. All your actions should be aimed at eliminating the crew, so let's start with them. Know your enemy. Use this trick. Switch to the country you're facing as the enemy, and select any squad with armored vehicles. Click on the vehicle. Here it is, your enemy's hangar. Here, in the X-ray and armor viewing modes, you can check the characteristics of all your potential armored opponents. Without this step, any further advice we give is only half as effective. Memorized? Examined? And now briefly and clearly about all types of armor-piercing weapons with tips for effective use. Anti-tank rifles. One of your very first tools against armored vehicles. Available to the AT gunner class, they're simply very powerful rifles. Powerful, but not all powerful. They can only deal with the thin armor of light vehicles and armored cars. They punch a hole, so shoot at those parts of the target behind which the crew members are sitting. Shooting randomly at the silhouette is completely useless. Besides, the armor-piercing capability of these guns is not great, although you can damage the cannon or destroy the tracks of heavily armored enemy vehicles. Projectile launchers. More powerful, but also with some special features. Another signature weapon of the AT guns. In this case, the armor is not pierced. Rather, a jet of red-hot gas burns through it. But after penetration, this disperses rather quickly and is not able to turn the vehicle's interior into mush. That's why it's better to aim here too, but not at the crew. Instead, at the ammunition rack. A rifle bullet usually just breaks the shells, while a red-hot jet is highly likely to detonate the whole rack. By the way, don't forget to use the button to change the aim range. It'll make it easier to hit targets at a distance. Take into account that shaped charges do not like tanks with spaced armor, like this. Shooting at these parts makes no sense. The charge will simply not reach the underlying armor. Also, some infantry squads have anti-tank rifle grenades, not to be confused with regular grenades. Of course, they're weaker than projectile launchers, but they're still good against thin armor. Flamethrowers. You thought it was just against infantry? Well, no. A short spray won't harm a tank, but while the vehicle is on fire, the enemy sees you like this. Show that the observation devices are covered with fire and smoke, so he can't see you. It's a very effective psychological attack. The flames can enter the vehicle through the engine air intake. Spray the rear part of the turret to ignite the engine compartment cover. If necessary, keep the fire burning with another quick spray, and in 30 seconds, click, the engine will burst into flames, and with it, the insides of the tank. And after a short while, the burning crew will jump out of the piñata. Enjoy your present. Throwables. Not the best solution. Too many variables. Get close, aim, and wait a few seconds. But there's one important advantage. Throwable anti-tank weapons are available to all classes. So here, explosive packs. We won't teach you the mechanics of grenades, but just to clarify, it has two damage factors, blast wave and shrapnel. It's the blast wave that's dangerous for the tank. Only it can breach the armor, so aim at the following spots. Near the tracks, where the armor is often thin. Under the tank, even better. Or on top of the hull or turret, even better. Keep in mind that the enemy tanker sees the explosive marker, and if you throw it without properly cooking it, the enemy may have time to react. Molotovs have the same effect as the flamethrower, but more powerful. If you hit the front of the tank, you'll blind the enemy for a long time. If you hit the engine cover, the duration of the fire will be enough to ignite the enemy completely. Mortars. Simply put, these are powerful explosive packs. The force of the explosion is enough to breach the top armor of tanks, the part most often hit by such a weapon. The best method, markers. Ask your allies or even mark the enemy yourself. We have guides about this mechanic on our channel, and you'll see the exact distance to the target. This number is visible only to mortarmen, a special feature of the class. What's next is a matter of technique. Align, shoot, pray that the enemy did not move away, and that the 2 to 5 meter dispersion works in your favor. It's better to fire 5 times. Anti-tank mines. Also for all classes. Mines can be used against any vehicle. There's plenty of explosives in them. We also have a detailed video about them on our channel. How to use them is tricky. On many maps, the attack paths of enemy vehicles are fairly clear. It's logical to place mines on these routes, and preferably not 1 or 2, but 5 at once, in a staggered pattern, at a distance of 10 meters from each other. So the chance of an enemy hitting it is higher, and in case one detonates, the rest will remain, waiting for new targets. Mines remain on the battlefield until the end of the battle. Even if your soldier dies, or your whole squad, the mines stay. Mines are triggered by any vehicle passing over them, and tear them to shreds. For real, Rambos, you can sneak up on the enemy tank and put a mine under its tracks, or simply next to it, and then blow the mine up with a good shot, or just scare the tank to start moving. TNT charges. Another powerful weapon, strong enough to breach through armor. TNT is also good against any vehicle, with certain limitations, and is available to all soldier classes as well. The key is that the explosion happens on your command. Let's skip the trivial step of placing it on an enemy vehicle. It works. But you can also place it on the enemy's path. Important. The explosion can only penetrate up to 35 millimeters of armor, so it won't work on the Tiger's frontal armor. Place it on top of it, or under its hull. In general, everything is the same as with explosive packs. Anti-tank guns. Engineers can build these guns. Points for ingenuity. Powerful guns with armor-piercing shells have the ability to reach the farthest enemies, and the armor penetration indicator will tell you if you can penetrate the armor at that spot. It's like driving a tank. These guns can be moved. Change to the second crew slot, and then you can move it. Anti-tank guns can be built not only by an engineer squad, but also by an engineer in an AT gunner squad. We hope that not only the newcomers, but also the experienced commanders have learned something useful about armor piercing. And we'll end the guide not with a nice word, but with one more important piece of advice. Although armored beasts look terrifying, in reality, your enemy is blind as a newborn kitten. Usually the commander of the enemy tank uses the gunners or the commander's observation devices, and they don't have a great angle of view. Therefore, feel free to approach enemy vehicles from the flanks and rear, and do all sorts of stuff. Good luck in your battles!